digress. So I want to talk about, as it says, at the edge of OT, remote connectivity in OT, the challenges and how we were able to conquer those challenges with some product, right? Just a little bit about myself. I've been in network security for about 12 years. I'm still in that technical space. I do lead vision and strategy for InfoSec at Connecticut and Maine Water, okay? We have over 150 operators in service delivery and more than 30 remote facilities, including water treatment plants and offices. We also have more than 200 other locations that serve water to our customers, okay? Our networks are separate, so our OT network is completely separate, completely segmented, so you can see where the challenge could be in remote connectivity. So I'll go over that. There you go. So back in the day, people used to get into their SCADA clusters or RDP sessions, what have you, VNC, just via remote connectivity, which RDP was, or VNC, open ports. Well, what's the problem with that? You name the MITRE attack framework that you can use, it would work, right? You can do a keystroke log, you can do an exploit, you can go into a website called Shodan. Anybody know what Shodan is? Yep. Just ways to exploit. You'll see hundreds of or thousands of ways to exploit these systems with just an RDP or a VNC connection. So the problem here, it's not really secure, right? Okay, so us as IT professionals or InfoSec professionals, we went to work. So what we did was we created kind of a hairpin, what I call a hairpin, an encrypted tunnel into our VPN or using a VPN into our corporate network. Okay, pretty standard. Going into a jump host in the corporate or in DMZ, jumping from there into a jump host in a DMZ and SCADA, and then RDPing into the actual SCADA. Well, what's the problem with that? Yeah, it may be somewhat, it's more secure and it mitigates risk, but what's the problem with that? It's too complicated. It's way too complicated. Just think of a water treatment person trying to get through this when it's 2 o'clock in the morning. They're pretty irate, and when there's an emergency and they need to get visibility into their water treatment plants or into anything, and they can't get through and it takes 5 to 10 minutes, it feels like an eternity. And I've gotten calls as a tech years back, and they were pretty irate. I don't know what they look like. I'm assuming they look like that, but I'm pretty sure, when they're screaming on the phone, it's not too pleasant. And giving them an explanation saying, yeah, well, this is how we do it. It's pretty secure. They don't care. Honestly, they don't. And they care when things go right, right? They're like, oh, cyber, that's great. Give you the thumb, and they're like, yay, that's great. But when they're in an emergency, they just need to get to their action, right? They need to be able to serve the customer. That's what we do. We serve customers. So when I took the role as the, let's say, the lead, if you want to call it the czar, I saw that as a big fundamental problem, remote connectivity. So I wanted to create a system that met our security criteria and was easy for the operators to use. Make sense so far? So I partnered with Dispel. And there are other companies that do this better than me, and Dispel being one of them, right? So they figured out a way to have just a remote client for an operator and have complete security in the sense that the tunnel's encrypted from start to finish. They actually have 2 tunnels of encryption. They use least privilege, so you only give your operators what they need, and complete isolation into the network. The problem with some of the jump hosts was that you could potentially leak on the corporate side or on the outside and on the SCADA side, and we didn't want that, okay? Just a little demo here, how easy it is. And this is about 1 minute. They're in, okay? They just RDP. And they're in where they need to go, as opposed to 5 to 10 minutes. So what I did, and I'll just kind of give you my little journey on how I went about this. Before I came to Dispel, I went to the business. So I went to OT, service delivery. And I'll be honest, this was to create a relationship. The relationship wasn't so great at the time, right? IT and OT sometimes don't mix. I don't know if that's just coincidence and some, what? There you go. It's common, right? Excuse me. So I wanted to create a relationship with them. And I wanted to know what they did and how they went about their business. Okay? So I went to service delivery, and I'll be honest, I did a day in the life with one of the control systems guys. I put on my whole hazmat suit. It was great. Got in a suit, went to the wells, got down dirty, and tried to do what they did. They showed me some of the things. And I tried to use the jump host at the same time. It was like juggling, honestly. It was like juggling. So if they're trying to get to a PLC and trying to do the jump host, and it takes 5 to 10 minutes, you can see where the problem is, right? They just need to get in. They can't do both at the same time. So I spent a day with service delivery, actually more days with service delivery, with control systems and water treatment operators to see how they went about their business, to really understand what their problem was with our remote connectivity solution before Dispel. So this was a year in the making, okay? Once I did that, I went to search for a product, okay? There are a lot of products that do this, VPN concentrators, but there are not a lot of products that do all-in-ones, just like Dispel does, honestly. As you can see, they just pretty much condense the whole process and encrypt from start to finish. So it's like having jump hosts, but you don't have to worry about it, and all the magic is behind us. The operator doesn't see any of that. They don't have to see the jump host. They just see the connection happening. They land, RDP, you're done, or whatever, right? If they use any other product. So once we found that Dispel met our needs, right, ease of use, and it was pretty secure, I went back to service delivery and presented this. And we had sessions, demo sessions with them, so they could experiment and see if this really worked for them, right? I really wanted their buy-in. I know it sounds cliche at times, but this product is for them. They should be able to know how to use it, and it should be easy for them to use, right? Pretty simple, common sense. So we took about 2 to 3 months, did a couple sessions with their leads, sat down, saw any of the pain points, because there was some things we needed to fix, but Dispel was great, provided the support. They custom for us, right? And it worked out. Once that happened, I got the buy-in of the team. Now I need to present this to senior leadership, right? Okay, and the buy-in with senior leadership was easy because they saw how easy it was for service delivery to use. The VP of service delivery happened to be in our steering committee, and I didn't have to explain it. He stood up, explained it, and pretty much I got this. It's all over, you know? So it was a done deal. It worked out. So what did we do here? We reduced login time from 5-10 minutes to less than a minute, as you saw there. We're still using multi-factor authentication, okay? We're using encryption from point to point. If you notice with the jump host, there wasn't encryption from some of the jump hosts itself. So that actually improved our security posture and threat vector, or reduced the threat vector. Had full AD integration with our OT side. So they didn't have to remember multiple passwords. They just have to remember the password into OT, as opposed to corporate, two-pin, all that stuff. They just need to remember their AD password in the OT side, and then their two-factor, which that was the other thing. We used to have tokens back in the day. Everybody remember two-factor tokens. We went to soft tokens. We use our cell phones quite a bit, right? So that was one of the things we actually moved to as well. You pick your vendor. That's what we did, just to make it easier. Permissions were simple to kind of assign on my end. And I also talk about the IT. From a jump host perspective, I was able to eliminate 150 jump hosts. So that's 150 holes that I eliminated in my firewall, both on the outside and on the OT. So you're reducing your threat vector quite a bit there as well, okay? And then from an IT management, or from our InfoSec guys, they don't have to manage any of that. They just know that they're going to be going through a concentrator that Dispel gives us. It's encrypted, and they're just looking at traffic through that concentrator. So it reduces the overhead for both departments, okay? And it's fully redundant. Another thing I'll say about this as well is that the product, it's not static, it was a big deal for us. People are kind of used to network traffic as being somewhat static at times. Like you come in through a public IP set, you come in, that's it, everybody knows what your public IP is. This isn't. You create the IP set or you create it on the fly, it's dynamic. So it's like a moving target, okay? And then the vision for the future, right? We found that we could use this beyond just the OT to protect. We can use it anywhere. All right, whatever networks you want to protect, you can use this. So we're actually going to be implementing in our corporate for our corporate users for finance, HR, anything that has PII, anything pretty sensitive. It's actually implemented, and we're testing it out now to replace our current solution, our current VPN solution. Yeah, and again, that'll reduce the overall threat vector for things beyond OT, right? Just anything private, like I just said, PII. Thank you.